Let's dive into one of the deepest puzzles in philosophy and science, the origin of consciousness. The hard problem asks, how does subjective experience, the taste of chocolate, the redness of a rose, the feeling of joy, arise from purely physical processes that, on the surface, seem non-experiential? How can neurons firing or particles moving give rise to the vivid inner world we each inhabit? Two radical perspectives tackle this challenge by taking consciousness seriously at the foundational level. They don't treat the experience as a byproduct of matter. They place it at the root of reality itself. The first is panpsychism. This view suggests that consciousness or proto-experience is an intrinsic property of all matter. Just as particles carry mass or charge, they carry some form of proto-consciousness. Think of it like a hidden melody running through the universe, present even in the smallest fragments of reality. Complex consciousness, like human awareness, emerges when these elemental notes harmonize in larger systems. The second perspective is IO. IO also treats consciousness as fundamental, but it does so through a generative rhythm of reality itself. At the base are inner indistinct, or IOIs, primal states that are neither fully inward nor outward, neither fully this nor that. Through inner entanglement, these IOIs interact, creating structure, differentiation, and dynamic process. Consciousness then is not sprinkled through matter like an intrinsic property. It emerges from the relational rhythm of the IOI field, a natural byproduct of the universe's continuous pulse of inward coherence and outward expansion. In simpler terms, panpsychism says everything has a tiny spark of experience. IO says experience emerges from the dance of the universe itself. Both perspectives challenge the traditional view that consciousness is secondary. They invite us to think of the universe not as a lifeless matter suddenly producing mind, but as a reality where experience and structure co-emerge at the deepest level. Next, we explore how these two radical monisms differ in explaining how consciousness actually forms and organizes itself, and why IO may offer a dynamic bridge between being and becoming in the cosmos. Let's talk about panpsychism, a fascinating approach to consciousness. Panpsychism is a type of monism, meaning it treats reality as ultimately one kind of stuff. But instead of everything being purely physical, panpsychism says that mentality or some form of experience is fundamental. It's present everywhere, even in the tiniest building blocks of matter like electrons or quarks. Think of it like this. Just as every particle carries mass or charge, it might also carry a tiny spark of experience. Not a full human mind, of course, but a proto-consciousness, a basic capacity to be, from the inside. You could imagine the universe as a vast network of these micro-minds, quietly humming beneath the surface of reality. This view elegantly avoids dualism, where mind and matter are separate and mysteriously interact. It also bypasses the explanatory gap of traditional physicalism, which struggles to explain how mind could arise from purely non-experiential matter. Instead, panpsychism puts experience at the foundation, making consciousness a natural ingredient of the cosmos. In short, panpsychism invites us to imagine reality as fundamentally alive, where the mental and the physical are inseparable, woven together even at the quantum level. Now let's explore inner ontology, a modern approach to understanding consciousness and reality. Unlike panpsychism, which treats consciousness as an intrinsic property of particles, IO sees consciousness as a flow, a process that emerges from relationships. At its core are two minimal conditions, inward potential, while in, and outward manifestation, or out. Think of them like the tension and release in a musical rhythm. Inward gives coherence and stability. Outward gives expansion and expression. Through the conscious interplay of these inner dynamics, structure, form, and experience arise. Consciousness is not simply their inner particle. It emerges from the relational entanglement of these minimal states. Imagine tiny sparks of potential that interact and resonate. Together, they create patterns, structures, and even sentient awareness. This framework offers a solution to panpsychism's combination problem, the long-standing puzzle of how tiny micro-minds combine into complex conscious experience. In I.O., these micro-potentials don't need to magically merge. They generate higher-order structures naturally through relational dynamics, producing both coherence and complexity in a single continuous process. In short, I.O. reframes consciousness as generative and relational, showing not just that mind emerges, but why the cosmos itself unfolds with structure, rhythm, and awareness. Let's compare panpsychism and inner ontology, two radical ways of thinking about consciousness. Panpsychism says that mind is everywhere, built into the tiniest parts of reality. Electrons, quarks, even photons carry a spark of experience. But it struggles with the combination problem. How do these micro experiences come together to form the rich, unified consciousness we actually experience? I.O. approaches it differently. It doesn't assume consciousness is intrinsic to every particle. Instead, it emerges from dynamic relational processes, the interplay of inward potential and outward manifestation. Think of it like a dance. Inward coherence provides stability, outward flow generates differentiation, and together they create patterns of experience. Through these inner entanglements, structure, form, and consciousness naturally arise, solving the combination problem by showing how simple relational interactions scale into complex experience. Consciousness then is not fixed, but a generative flow, or rhythm woven into the fabric of reality itself. In short, panpsychism gives us ubiquitous micro-minds, while I.O. gives us emergent mind from relational rhythm. Two visions of the same puzzle, each illuminating different aspects of how consciousness fits into the cosmos. Panpsychism offers a bold vision. Consciousness is everywhere, embedded even in the smallest particles, but it faces a critical hurdle, known as the combination problem, or sometimes the subject summing problem. Here's the core challenge. How the trillions of tiny micro subjects, the conscious experiences of quarks, electrons, or other particles combine into singular unified consciousness of a human being. Think of it like trying to create a single note by piling up thousands of tiny musical vibrations. Each vibration has its own tone, but just stacking them doesn't produce a single coherent note. It produces noise. Similarly, simply adding micro experiences doesn't automatically create a unified I. The philosophical issue runs deeper. Consciousness subjects are inherently indivisible and unified. You cannot slice up your experience into bits and expect them to recombine seamlessly. This creates an apparent logical contradiction that challenges panpsychism. If subjects cannot combine, then how can complex conscious beings emerge from fundamental micro-minds? This problem has been called panpsychism's fatal challenge, because it questions whether the theory can truly explain the very phenomena it aims to ground, the unified subjective experience of being. Integrated Information Theory, or IIT, is often described as a kind of emergent panpsychism. It suggests that consciousness arises from the integration of information within a system. IIT identifies what it calls the maximally integrated cause-effect structure, or MICs, the configuration with the highest pi value. as the seat of conscious experience. In other words, the theory tries to pinpoint where consciousness is strongest by measuring how well the system's parts are integrated and how they influence each other. The idea is appealing because it seems to sidestep the combination problem. Instead of literally adding on micro-conscious experiences, IIT says that consciousness emerges from the integrated whole. But here's the subtle issue. Even with this integration, IIT does not fully explain how micro-elements, the smallest parts of the system, actually produce a single unified experience. The I that experiences the world still seems to emerge mysteriously from the integration, leaving the question of combination unresolved at a deeper ontological level. It's like building a mosaic. IIT can identify the complete image formed by tiny tiles, but it doesn't explain how each individual tile contributes to the experience of the picture from the perspective of a single viewer. IO shares panpsychism's monistic, non-reductive perspective. It sees reality as fundamentally unified, rather than built from separate, reducible parts. But IO solves a key problem that panpsychism struggles with, the subject combination problem. Here's how it works. IO's fundamental building blocks are in-out indistinct, or IOIs. These are not conscious subjects. They don't have a personal I, feelings, or experiences. Instead, they are pre-categorical potentials, a neutral ground of directional tendencies, inward and outward. You can think of an IOI like a seed of possibility. It isn't a tree yet, nor is it conscious. It holds the potential for both. Mathematically, it exists in a superposition state, denoted as omega, where inward coherence and outward expansion are entangled like real and imaginary components of a complex number. This approach is crucial. By not assuming subjectivity is fundamental, IO sidesteps the paradox of adding up micro-consciousnesses to create a human mind. Consciousness doesn't need to be primitive. It emerges naturally from the relational flow of IOIs interacting. In simple terms, instead of trying to glue together tiny conscious dots into a single self, IO shows how the pattern of relationships itself generates the experience of being a subject. It's a structural mechanism, not a metaphysical assumption. Both panpsychism and inner ontology reject dualism, treating reality as fundamentally unified, but they differ in what they take as fundamental. Panpsychism leans towards substance monism. It treats mental properties as the basic stuff of the universe. Everything from electrons to rocks has some form of proto-consciousness. This avoids creation from nothing, but it runs into a serious challenge, the subject combination problem. How do trillions of micro-experiences combine into a single, unified consciousness? IO, by contrast, is closer to process monism. It defines the relational flow itself, the dynamic interplay of inward and outward tendencies, as the fundamental minimal condition of reality. In IO, all phenomena, space-time, gravity, even consciousness emerge as necessary outcomes of this generative inner rhythm. Here's the key insight. IO doesn't assume consciousness is a fundamental subject. Instead, it arises from directional potentials, interacting patterns of inward cohesion and outward expansion. In short, IO achieves panpsychism's ambition of grounding mind in the cosmos, but elegantly avoids the combination problem by rooting experience in emergent relational dynamics, not in pre-existing micro-subjects.